While enjoying a boxing match, Lupin catches an article on Jacqueline, a wealthy woman who just so happens to be his next target. Jigen's suspicious, as she's apparently something of a black widow, not to mention catching a glimpse of a man who disappears as the match ends. They drive along a mountain road to Jacqueline's house, but a cobra attacks, and in a panic they go over a cliff as the man watches. Lupin wakes up in a bedroom and overhears someone showering, that someone being Jacqueline. They hit it off quite well, as an annoyed Jigen relays to the rest of the gang. Unaware they're being bugged, Fujiko leaves but is kidnapped by the man at the boxing match. He calls Jigen and warns him to back off this heist, with Goemon finding the bug in Jigen's hat. We then cut to Interpol, where Zenigata is taking photos of a criminal case file. Bumping into the real deal reveals that this was a disguised Jigen, for once. As Lupin and Jacqueline plan a party that night, Jigen and Goemon look over the photos. The man is part of the Cobra Syndicate, a rival gang of thieves. He's their main follower, but not even Interpol know who the leader is. They travel out to the party that night and spot the man among the guests. Jacqueline leaves to change outfits and they corner Lupin and warn him that Cobra's boss is among them. This is interrupted by Jacqueline's cry for help. They find a ransom note demanding Lupin turn over his collection in exchange for Fujiko and Jacqueline's lives. Lupin opens Jacqueline's hidden treasure compartment, showing that he did indeed have his eye on the prize the whole time despite Jigen's grumblings. He also confirms he knows who Cobra's boss is. Meeting with Cobra's follower, he gives him a list of locations where his collection is stored. The man betrays Lupin, but Lupin was prepared, throwing a hidden knife and knocking out the light source. Someone falls into the snake pit that the women are being suspended over, seemingly Lupin. As Jacqueline is led to the car, her facade drops as she celebrates her prize. The henchman then reveals that he's a disguised Lupin. He figured Jacqueline out when Cobra didn't take her jewel stash, and was also the only one in a position to plant the bug on Jigen. Lupin tells her to turn herself in, as he doesn't like killing women. Jacqueline responds by shooting at him, but he dodges and leaves her to go over a cliff with a cobra for company. I think the title of this episode gives the twist away, to be honest. Still, I do like this one for giving Jigen and, albeit to a slightly lesser extent, Goemon a chance to shine while Lupin's busy. It also shows that Lupin doesn't discriminate when it comes to killing, but only ever as a last resort when it comes to women especially. We open on a less fashion-conscious Lupin running away with a young woman following. They're cornered and the woman, Cornelia, takes a shot for Lupin. We then see him in the present day digging up her grave only to find an empty casket. Flashing back, this began with a night to enjoy the stars show in the Pantheon Hotel in Florida that doubled as an auction for stolen art. The hostess being a very much alive Cornelia, not that Lupin's aware yet. Fujiko, with her own agenda, puts Zenigata into play as Jigen spots a hearse that is serving as the art transport. Lupin triggers an audio message declaring his intent and heads to an elevator with Goemon. Jigen shoots out the controls of the adjacent elevator as Lupin meets it, and they take out the guards riding up. They find what they're looking for, but Goemon informs Lupin of the Zantetsuko shadow making a reappearance. Fujiko's already hijacked the hearse and leaves Lupin to deal with Zenigata. He dashes back to the roof, leaving Zenigata with the broken elevator. Cornelia then chants an incantation and zombies rise from Fujiko's hearse, sending her off a cliff. Amusingly, she was humming the theme tune prior to this. Reaching the roof, Lupin is shocked by Cornelia's appearance. She has trouble remembering him though, running away at the pain it causes. At their hideout, Lupin explains to the others about Cornelia. One of his early heists involved sneaking into a facility in Venezuela that was run by Dr. Zell, a former Nazi running human experiments. He met Cornelia, Zell's daughter, there, but was captured. Cornelia freed him, but as they escaped, well, you saw at the start of the episode. Cornelia asks her handler Sergio about Lupin, but Sergio simply tells her that her mind is rejecting his memory. When he answers, she asks her father, and he tells her that she was taken hostage by Lupin and shot while he escaped. He then mindjacks her to kill Lupin in revenge, calling forth a zombie army. As we reach the point of Lupin digging up Cornelia's grave, Jigen and Goemon reach the facility and are attacked. The zombie's signature move is a flame that doesn't burn but does suffocate. In response, they decide to employ the tactic of bravely running away, unaware that Fujiko is being held there. As Lupin drives out to the facility, Zenigata is told of the facility being a sponsor for the auction. Having taken photos of the facility, Lupin goes over them with the gang. Zell was studying corpse hypnosis, zombification, necromancy essentially. He also reveals that he planted a bug on Fujiko which will lead them right to her. Cornelia approaches Fujiko and starts freaking out again when Fujiko mentions Lupin will rescue her as he's her lover. Lupin sneaks in using a hearse, but Cornelia has him transferred to the cremation chamber. He's saved by Sergio and it's revealed Lupin knows him. Sergio tells Lupin about how Zell revived Cornelia using a neural chip that he keeps control of thanks to assimilating with his computer, and that he should take Fujiko and leave as soon as possible. Lupin finds Fujiko and frees her, but she's more interested in the treasure and runs off again. Zenigata also makes his way to the facility, but he's startled by a zombie and ends up falling down a trapdoor right in Lupin's path. Before the chase can get going, Lupin's trapped in a trick room that brings him to Cornelia. He tries to talk her down and make her remember, but she fires and hits his arm. Lupin decides to let her kill him, apologising for getting her killed. Cornelia's memories start conflicting and she runs away again. Meanwhile, Fujiko has found what she thinks are the caskets containing the artwork. Nope, it's zombies. Jigen and Goemon hear her from outside and she races towards them. Lupin discovers Zell but realises he's long dead. Zell's body decomposes and he confirms he uploaded his mind into a computer. Restraining Lupin, Zell tells him that he wants revenge for what happened as Cornelia appears. Lupin tries again to get her to remember as she asks what the truth is. Outside, Fujiko suggests running but Jigen presses forward, ending up falling down a trapdoor himself. Cornelia is still conflicted as Zell tries to force her to attack, but she's shot by Jigen, who made his way to the computer room. Jigen's apologetic and Cornelia's memory returns as she finally dies. Accepting defeat, Zell self-destructs as Lupin and Jigen escape. With the zombies returned to dust, the gang overlook the wreck facility as Sergio arrives with Zenigata. He explains that Cornelia would die if she remembered the truth, and Lupin asks him to lay her remains in the best spot in the graveyard to allow her to finally rest. I think if you're going to try for a two-parter with this series, giving a bit of history on Lupin is a good way to do it. It can be difficult to pull off, as Lupin is the kind of character who's very in the now, so revealing too much about his past can potentially hurt the character. But thankfully focusing on one past heist manages to work. Cornelia's not the most developed character, but what we get of her does give some insight on Lupin, that even he can be shaken by some things. Well, besides Mummy's curses. The little things are appreciable, like the aforementioned Fujiko humming Lupin's theme, as well as the younger Lupin wearing green, even if it's not a jacket. In terms of tone, it manages to pull off action, comedy and ultimately tragedy quite effectively to make for a pretty compelling story. Fujiko is meeting with Lieutenant Smith in order to get a document that can locate a scripture that can grant immortality. He refuses as another woman has requested it, one Emmanuelle Poirot. Given her design, probably inspired by the movie and book character. Emmanuelle tries to warn Fujiko away from acquiring the document, but Fujiko assures her that she has Lupin for backup, shooting out her Seagull camera bug. Fujiko sends Lupin a note to come meet her in Bangkok, but he's instead greeted by Emmanuelle. Using her cat's poison claws as a threat, she asks Lupin to join her. Hiding his gun in his bouquet, he tells her he'll consider it. The gang discuss Emmanuelle, descended from Hercule Poirot and known to lead men around to get what she wants. Jigen and Goemon are surprised that Lupin is not only considering working with her, but that she's seemingly displaced Fujiko in his mind. Zenigata meets with Emmanuelle, who promises to divulge Lupin's location when the time is right, and then she meets with Lupin, deciding to join her to head to a costume party. Upon arriving, she asks Lupin to target a certain woman that's out for her head. Meanwhile, Fujiko meets with Smith, but only gets a copy of the document as the original has been promised to Emmanuelle. She moves to attack, but Smith warns her that he's faster. Down at the party, Emmanuelle points out Fujiko, disguised as a dancer, as Lupin's target. Neither recognises the other and a shootout occurs in the car park. Lupin gets the upper hand, but Fujiko is saved by a gunman and carried off. Emmanuelle meets with Smith and mocks him for betraying Fujiko, having a cat scratch him before he can do the same to her. Lupin travels out to the Cambodian jungle with Emmanuelle, where she asks him to steal the immortality scripture. Entering the temple with only the cat for company, Lupin nearly falls down a trapdoor that ends with a stream. Fujiko is also in the temple, saving him on condition that he finds the scripture for her. Zenigata arrives as Lupin finds the scripture, but the problem is it's in a load-bearing structure. He tries to carefully ease it out, but the cat startles him and he sets off the trap. He survives, having used the cat to follow the stream to a well. He gives the scripture to Fujiko, but reveals to the gang that it's been reduced to dust by age as they laugh at Fujiko and Emmanuelle fighting over it. Kinda similar to episode 49 here. Granted, it ends somewhat less tragically than that one did. This episode is also the first one to use a third opening and a new ending known as Love Squall, a track that pretty much becomes Fujiko's theme as time goes on. Next time, another fictional French thief, a veteran officer and a gold statue, and another two-part episode leads us up to episode 56. Until then.